welcome back to Bridal Sewing Techniques, and today we're going to talk about, well, let's see if you can guess what we're going to talk about. It's shiny, it's got valves and hoses, and lots of steam. And it looks a little furry, actually. We're going to talk about my iron. So many of you have been asking me about my iron, and I finally got this video together for you. We're talking about my reliable iron, and it's a steamer, and it also presses fabric out beautifully. So I'm going to go over all the details of this beautiful beast. She helps me every day in the studio, more than you could ever imagine. So first I'm going to show you my setup just in general. I keep my spot cleaners nearby. There's a little rack underneath. This is also a reliable ironing table that the iron is set on. This is in my workroom area, and I just set up the room divider so you could see things clearly. You know I'm all about keeping it real. So this is actually what my ironing board normally looks like. So let me take a second and clean it up for you. There you go. Much better. But basically, I like to keep by my iron some nippers, some different types of threads. I also have a stick of bone that you use for spot removal. I have a pin cushion, and I'm going to go through all of those details in this video so that you can see kind of how I have it configured. Of course, you're going to find your own way to get things set up yourself. Here, let me blow the fibers off of this and let you see the different temperatures that they have on here. Where I'm gesturing is the marker for where it says what temperature it's on. So I have this set on about halfway up nylon. My other iron, I have the same exact iron. My other iron is set a little higher, but they iron the same way. So you are going to want to kind of test it out on different fabrics and get your iron set exactly where it needs to be for your studio, because I have not found the dials to be consistent across the products. Here is the part that you hold in your hand, the head of the iron. It's got the blue button that you push for the burst of steam. So you can hang the dresses right at the left end of the ironing board. I have that drop cord, and I've got videos on that, the rigging system. But I've got some ribbon dropping from the ceiling, and I can do lots of vertical steaming. This works fantastic as a vertical steamer. It's so much better than any other commercial vertical steamer that I've had before. All right, so I'm going to show you about how you turn the machine off. So you switch it to off, off, and then you slowly open the valve, and some steam is going to start coming out. Once a little bit comes out, you can leave it, and it will decompress. And I usually just do this at the close of the day, let it cool down, let the extra pressure out of there. You don't want to just turn it off and leave the pressure in there. You definitely want to release the pressure. Now, I do love this handy little rack under here. You can see I've got some things I keep on there, and I also hook here on the right of the rack a bunch of veil clips. They're super handy for clipping back extra layers of a skirt or something like that. So I keep those on hand. Okay, so I'm just going to show you one by one the things that are on the rack underneath my ironing table. This is a Tailor's ham, and I do have a video about this as well, but basically it's a really firm pillow that has several different angles on it that you can use for hip shaping, bust shaping, things like that. This is a Tailor's clapper. This is really going to set your pleats and give you crisp hems and edges. I also have a video about that. My pleats video goes into detail of that. This is a sleeve roll, so you slide it up the sleeve and you can press the seam out. And lastly, you'll see that I have this roll of paper towels. I know it looks kind of out of place, but I have it tied together because I do use this as a tool for my ironing. What I do is I hang up the wedding gowns that have the skirts that have the multiple tiers that are finished in the horsehair braid. I hang them up high, and then I can slip this underneath that horsehair braid and press all of the kinks and the sharp turns out of the horsehair braid. It's just so much easier than trying to fight with those the shorter tiers on the ironing table. And here's a little jug I keep underneath. Always use distilled water in your iron. But it's got the funnel, and it's also got your water level straw. And I'll show you how to use that in a little bit. I'll go through all the steps of how to fill your tank and get it set up in the morning before you open. Now the markers have come off of this straw, and I just painted them back on with whiteout or something. Right by my iron, I have a square of felt that I've just pinned down to the ironing board. I know if I was a good seamstress, I would have stitched them, but whatever. The felt keeps my beads from rolling away when I have to pop beads off. And of course I have the pin cushion there with a variety of needles. And I always keep my lighter nearby for heat sealing. Okay, so let's say you've got low water and you need to fill the tank. So you're going to put the straw down in the tank and check the water level. It should go up to the white line, so it needs just a little bit more. So you're going to use the funnel that they provided and pour some distilled water in there. Now you'll want to check the level again. Now think about when you were in a restaurant as a kid and you played with the straws, and you would put your finger on the top of the straw and pull it out, and the soda would be in the straw. That's how this works as far as gauging the amount of water that's in the tank. Once you have the right amount in, just screw the cap on. Switch the iron on, and if the low water light was on before, if it had gotten that low, you need to unscrew this on the right side of the tank and hit the reset button. Now these irons are under a lot of pressure, so this is a pressure release valve. Every now and then, I don't know, every few months or so, this valve will kind of go up in the red zone, and it will start spewing steam out of the cap. When that happens, I just kind of run over to the iron and lift up the head of the iron, the part that you hold in your hand, and I hold the blue button down and just really help a lot of steam out of it quickly. And that usually solves it. Now I'm gesturing to this hose. Every now and then you will have to have the hose repaired or replaced. They sell those. Of course your new iron would come with one, but they also just kind of sell them separately. But you can see the clamp there. I just have my handyman come in. You'll start to notice you'll get steam leaks in it and stuff. Just, you know, the rubber wears down. So what he does is he just shortens it and reclamps it. And then after he's shortened it a few times and can't do it anymore, we just replace it. And I always get an extra long hose with that. I hope this has helped you. Questions or comments, leave them down below. Also, I'm going to link to this down below, and I'll have it on the products page of my website. Sometimes the models vary a little bit that Amazon has, so I'm going to kind of zoom in here so you can see exactly what this is. But for the most part, I've had a couple of different variances, and they've all been fabulous.